Hey there, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whatever time you may be watching this. I am Ryan, the NCS Master, and I'm back with another video game review. But I'm doing it a little different from what I was doing before. I'm not going to be doing a vlog review for this one. I feel like with the style that I work in, it's just probably going to be best for me to do a podcast for this review. And ultimately, I feel like this will be the type of video I'm going to try to do going forward for a while because just to give a quick explanation on why I'm doing this and why I haven't been uploading videos a whole lot in the past year or so. To be blunt, college fucking sucks. I am incredibly busy with schoolwork. I'm back and forth with shit all the time. My schedule is loaded with responsibilities I need to do both in and out of school. So it really makes it hard for me to get any time to make a good quality video. So I think, at least for now, until I can find the time to do something better and get better equipment, I'm just going to be doing simple reviews like this. But hopefully it's something you guys can still enjoy. I feel these are pretty fun to do. But so getting into what we're actually going to be talking about today, this is one I almost felt I was kind of obligated to do because for anybody who knows me and knows the channel, the game that got me started doing YouTube was Pokemon Sword and Shield because I have a great amount of disdain for that game to say the least, and I hated it so much I needed to get my feelings out in a big long form video essay. And there is another brand new Pokemon game out now, and it is in fact one that I have a very personal, strong connection to. The long wanted remakes of Sinnoh, Generation 4. But it's safe to say this isn't entirely the remakes that people have wanted. So, but here we are now with Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. So I think it feels appropriate for me to talk about this game given my very public feelings towards Pokemon and to see if this changed it in any way. TLDR, it's complicated, and I'll get into it with this review. So, might as well first go over a little bit of history with this game and the lead up to it in general, both in the development and personally. So, Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, which I'll just refer to as BDSP, which, God, why does it have to be so close to BDSM? um, BDSP are remakes of the Sinnoh games Generation 4, which have been highly demanded for a long time by many Pokemon fans, including yours truly. I actually grew up with Sinnoh. It was the generation that really started when I got hooked on Pokemon as a franchise. Platinum was the first main Pokemon game I ever really got to play, the first one I ever really got to beat. It may have even been really the first RPG I ever really sunk my teeth into. So, Sinnoh holds a pretty special place in my heart. So, after years and years of demanding for a remake of these games, after people really loved the likes of Fire Red and Leaf Green and Heart Gold and Soul Silver, and not as much Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, but those were still pretty good games across the board, at least I think so. People were excited when we found out that these games were getting remade, but then we saw the initial reveal, and boy, things got controversial there. These are without a doubt, and it's something I'm going to be repeating a lot over the course of this podcast review. These are without a doubt the most faithful remakes Pokemon has ever done. These are fairly straight. I shouldn't even really say fairly straight. These are very, very straight remakes of the original Diamond and Pearl that released all the way back in 2006, and that could be seen very much from the initial reveal trailer. Stuck to the chibi art style of the original games, just updated with somewhat more modern graphics, and just the entire look of it really just looks straight on what the original originals would be like if you just simply remastered their visuals with modern technology, or remade, I guess, as opposed to stuff like Fire Red and Leaf Green, Heart Gold and Soul Silver, and Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, which based their remade visuals around the current generation they were being remade in. Like, this does not have Sword and Shield's graphics, though in my opinion that may actually be a good thing. But the initial reveal was not taken all too well, and then the lead up things only got worse when it was discovered that there would really not be any platinum content from being brought into these remakes, which that was a big sticking point for a lot of people, including myself, because platinum is pretty much universally considered to be easily the superior version of Gen 4. Like, to many people, there is no reason to go back and play Diamond and Pearl when Platinum exists, because it added a ton to the story, added a ton of extra content, fleshed a lot of things out, and it's just overall the better game. So to find out these would be such straight remakes of what's basically been universally considered to be the inferior versions of Sinnoh, and have been thought of that way for over 10 years, that was not well taken by a lot of people, and things only got worse when it turned out this game needed a very sizable day one patch in order to simply give the game certain aspects that you would expect to be there originally. Like, before the patch, this game didn't even have a proper title screen or intro sequence. It was pretty rough without the patch, but now the game is out. It's been out for, I want to say, about a little over a week, maybe a week and a half, 2 weeks at the time I'm recording this, and I'll probably be uploading it. So I myself and a lot of other people have finally gotten around to playing it, and I guess I'll just go over what I think about it. So, full disclosure, for what I have done in this game, I haven't done everything. I haven't 100%ed this game, obviously, but I have done a lot of stuff in the game. I have completely beaten the main story, and I have gone out of my way to do a lot of the post-game content. I have caught all of the Lake Trio, Giratina, Cresselia, Rotom, and Heatran. I want to do fight Regigigas, but unfortunately you'd need the other Regis again in order to fight him, but that's just a little issue I have, a little rant for another time for me. But yeah, I have beaten the game and done a very sizable amount of the post-game content, so it's safe to say I've experienced the vast majority of what this game has to offer in terms of major overall content. So, just to get into the game itself, I won't really bother much with a big story recap like what I did for Sword and Shield, simply because Diamond and Pearl are such old games at this point that I feel most people know the whole deal with their story, how much like, and even then there's not all too much to go over. You know, you're a trainer beating all the gym leaders and wanting to go on to the Elite Four and beat the champion, and along the way you run into and fight off Team Galactic, who want to capture and control the legendaries of the region in order to completely remake the universe, which, goddamn, that is a step up from Team Rocket being a mob boss. But yeah, plot-wise, I won't really go over much, like I said, simply because it's old and most people already probably know what's going on, and I feel the big thing to talk about mostly with this game revolves around the gameplay and any changes involved with it. So, the gameplay it's classic 2D Pokemon. It's something you really can't go wrong with, to be honest. It's still very fun, got a lot of enjoyment to it. It's literally just Diamond and Pearl again, because it's such a faithful remake. You got all the classic routes, all the classic towns, the gym leaders, and all that, and it's very much the same experience that you remember it being, just with some tweaks here and there, and some boost ups. And overall, I think the meat of this review is going to come in specifically with the general changes and alterations that Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl made, whatever may be their improvements, but also their lacking elements as remakes go. So, ultimately, to just get things out of the way, just give an easy summary right now, I I like these games. I like Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl more than honest to God, more than I thought I would have in the big lead up to this game. However, these may just be perhaps the most conflicting games I have ever played in my entire life. Like, I don't think I have ever felt more conflicted about a video game than I have Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. So, like I said earlier, these are very, very faithful remakes of Diamond and Pearl. Easily more so than what Fire Red and Leaf Green, Heart Gold and Soul Silver, and Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire were, where those added and changed a number of things. This, you are basically just playing Diamond and Pearl again with these remakes with just some updated features and quality of life improvements. But unfortunately, like I mentioned earlier in the build up, there is very, very little platinum content in this game. Almost none. But I say almost as a pretty big sticking point, because it's a big issue for a lot of people, because platinum, it added a lot. It improved a lot upon Diamond and Pearl, and it's not just things like the distortion world and Giratina specifically. There were multiple alterations in Platinum that straight up aren't in Diamond and Pearl, and they aren't in these remakes. Like, you don't get there's no bombing of the Great Marsh in Pastoria City, where Crasher Wait goes in to check on it, which was a really cool moment for him. You don't meet Maylene going up the snow route on your way to Snow Point City. You don't have really a lot of external interactions with the other gym leaders, aside from a few, like running into Rourke once or twice, or meeting Gardenia outside of the old chateau. And it's a lot of other things, like in Celestic Town, I believe, you don't fight Cyrus in front of the city ruins. You instead just fight a random grunt, whereas instead you actually full-on fought the leader of Team Galactic with an extra fight against him in Platinum, which added a lot to him. Speaking of Cyrus, you don't see him at Lake Verity, I believe it is, at the very beginning of the game, which was a cool introduction for him in Platinum, seeing the main villain of the game basically like in the first minute or two, which was really cool. But unfortunately, that's not here for Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. There's no distortion world. Kind of. There is a little bit, which I will mention in a minute. There is no story involvement with Giratina whatsoever. He doesn't drop in on the spear pillar when the climax is happening. You don't see both Dialga and Palkia. You don't travel to the distortion world with Cynthia as a part of the story. There are no platinum exclusive characters at all. Like, we don't see anything from Looker. We don't see anything from Sharon. Neither of them ever show up or are even mentioned. And, like, there's practically nothing from Platinum, which is, it's really one of the biggest issues with this game, is the fact that despite being a Gen 4 remake, it really, it's hard to specifically call it the ultimately definitive version of Gen 4, because it ends up lacking many of the great aspects of Platinum that made Gen 4 so beloved at the end of the day. Like, when people talk about how much they love Sinnoh, they are 95% of the time specifically talking about Platinum, because the original Diamond and Pearl were actually kind of rough. They had a number of issues. They weren't really fleshed out all that well, and they had a number of shortcomings to the point there are many people, including myself, who actually consider Diamond and Pearl to be somewhat weaker entries in the series, but consider Platinum to be arguably the best game in the series. Platinum changed a lot and improved a lot. It's not just a basic upgrade with some small tweaks here and there. It's a vastly different game, all things considered. And the thing is, though, BDSP, it doesn't include platinum content, but it also in some way it does, which is really, really weird because this game actually has things like the Rotom room where you're able to get all the different forms for Rotom. That was only in platinum. The same thing with Shaman's Flower Lady, who you would talk to in, I think it was Floroma Town, and when you talk to her, she would give you Shaman's Flower, which you could use to transform Shaman into its sky form. She was only in platinum, yet she is here in a straight Diamond and Pearl remake. And though that is probably because it does seem like Shaman is actually going to be in this game, because people have found out through like data mining and hacking and stuff like that, Darkrai, Shaman, and I believe even Arceus's events are all finished. Like, people have hacked the game and have fought them and caught them. Like, their events are complete, but they aren't in the game right now, which I actually kind of, I thought they were at first. So I think that was kind of a shame to find out that they weren't just naturally a part of the game. I don't know how they're going to be added into the game. I don't know. It's probably either going to be in either like a free update, which I hope that's what it is, or potentially in like promotional material. Like, if you buy one game, you'll end up getting ways to access certain special Pokemon in the other game. Like in this game, if you have save data from Sword and Shield and or Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, you actually can get a couple of legendaries completely for free. If you have save data from the Let's Go games, you can get Mew, and if you have save data from Sword and Shield, you can get Jirachi, which is kind of cool. But I do really hope they find a way to add the Darkrai and Shaman events soon, especially because, you know, those aren't really like secret events anymore. We all know about them already. And I do really hope they go through with adding the Arceus event too, because we never actually got the Arceus event originally because they thought it would be too confusing, which, wow, that's kind of fucking stupid. You put in all that work just only to not do it. But like I said, I really do hope they do add those in. But tying that all back to what I was saying before, it's weird that they're going through with this because some of that stuff is stuff that was only in platinum. And, you know, people will argue with me, you know, oh, well, these games, they wanted to be faithful to Diamond and Pearl, which, you know, you can make that decision, but that in of itself is almost kind of the base problem, simply because you're making the active effort to not include and adapt the superior version and the changes of that superior version. That single game is pretty much the reason why Gen 4 is so loved, yet you just decide to ignore that. And that is, and keep in mind, remaking older games and adding in newer content from a later re-release is not without precedent in Pokemon. That's effectively what Heart Gold and Soul Silver were. They are labeled Gold and Silver remakes, but they implement basically all the shit that Crystal did. Like, they implement the big Suicune side story that was one of the main driving forces of Crystal. They just added in tweaks that made them lean either towards Ho-Oh or Lugia and label them Gold and Silver respectively. So it's not like Pokemon hasn't done this before. It has brought in adaptations of third versions. And, you know, that was sort of another similar complaint people had with Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, where it kind of didn't really bring in a lot of the greater elements that Emerald had, but then again it also added its own completely new elements and brought in the Delta episode, which had a focus on Rayquaza and Deoxys as sort of a way to make up for that. But BDSP doesn't do either of those. It just flat out, or nearly flat out, remakes Diamond and Pearl with like only minor platinum hints here and there. So it's weird that it wants to stay faithful in the first place, yet it also kind of doesn't, which is really really weird. And that also kind of leads into the other big talking point around these remakes, the more modern improvements from more recent Pokemon games that they added in to help sort of modernize Diamond and Pearl and bring them more up to speed with the current Pokemon games and some changes they have made over time, which they implement a decent amount of them pretty well. Much like Sword and Shield, you can access the box at any time, which is really really nice. There is no longer having to save a lot of data where it practically takes a minute for the game to save. My OG Gen 4 folks will know that hell particularly well. You can now run in any direction. You have full 360-degree movement of your character instead of just running in the four cardinal directions, which is actually pretty nice. Gives you a more free-flowing sense of movement, which actually can end up sort of breaking some segments in half. Like, I've actually seen people basically completely skip the gym puzzle in Snow Point City by just running diagonally up the slope to reach Candace. So that's actually kind of funny. I don't know if they'll end up patching that out, but that was a little bit of an oversight. Um, the games are overall a lot faster than original Gen 4. Like, your movement is overall faster, you swim faster, the health bars go down much quicker, which that was the main complaint of OG Gen 4, especially original Diamond and Pearl. You just moved in, and the whole game, you just moved really slow, and the whole game had a much slower overall feel to it, but that's not the case in BDSP. You just keep moving and moving without really any sense of being too overly slow. I don't even think the game ever even had any instances of actually like slow down, like what would happen sometimes in Sun and Moon or even Sword and Shield from time to time. And another big improvement from the more recent games, there are no more HMs, which is really, really fucking nice for Gen 4 because Gen 4 had 8 of these sons of bitches. Oh, 8 of them. That was not fun. But yeah, HMs are no longer needed to be taught as moves to Pokemon. The moves themselves are still in the game. They're just TMs, and you just find the TMs, and then once you beat the gym leader that corresponds to that HM, you then can just click a button on your Pokewatch, and then you can just immediately use them at any point, which is really, really nice. However, regarding TMs, there is one decision in this game that I genuinely do not fucking understand why they did this, and it is probably one of my biggest complaints in this game because it was a dumb decision made for no reason. TMs are one use again for some godforsaken reason that I have absolutely no idea why. TMs have been unlimited use since Black and White 1 over 10 years ago, and everybody loved it when Black and White 1 made that change of making TMs permanent. Like, once you got it, you could teach that move to any amount of Pokemon any amount of times because you could experiment a lot more with that. It would allow you to end up with the TMs. It's so baffling to me why they did this. Like, was it in the attempt of being faithful? But then you went and made improvements that weren't faithful. You got rid of HMs. You made the game move faster. So why did you limit the TMs to not being unlimited again? It's so fucking dumb, and it's easily the worst decision this game made in my opinion, because unlimited TMs are fantastic. You could experiment, you could try different things. You could be like, oh, I found this new move. Maybe I want to try teaching it to one of my Pokemon, but I already have a full set of 4 moves. But I have one of the TMs for the moves they already know, so I could just switch in and out to see which one I think is better. But they didn't do that. Like, there was already writing on the wall of Pokemon starting to do this, like when Sword and Shield made the really dumbass decision to make some TMs like TRs, which some were unlimited, some weren't. It was just, I don't know why they're doing this. It is incredibly fucking stupid, and I seriously hope they put the brakes on this in both the remakes and the new main games going forward, because it's not something you should be doing. It is just regressing the games for no arbitrary reason, because everybody loves unlimited TMs. They're just so much nicer. Oh god, I do not get why Pokemon has this insane obsession of just adding great elements and then a game or a couple of games later just taking them away because potatoes for no real reason whatsoever other than because we can, even though it just arbitrarily subtracts from the game for no good reason. Oh my god, but that outside of the lacking platinum content, that is easily my biggest complaint with this game. I guess now I might as well do what is often done with Pokemon remakes, and that is compare them to the other like brand new titles that were released in the generation that the remakes like share with. Like, you'll see plenty of people comparing, Ruby Sapphire and Emerald to Fire Red and Leaf Green, or, comparing X and Y to Oras and stuff like that. So, comparing BDSP to Sword and Shield, which of the two did I like more? BDSP without a shadow of a doubt. Unlike Sword and Shield, I actually enjoyed these games. I actually had fun with myself. Whereas the other one, I fucking hated it. BDSP, it moves and goes by way quicker in a number of ways. I think it, honest to God, looks nicer than Sword and Shield, namely the battle backgrounds, because this game surprisingly had a lot of really nice battle backgrounds, which was a big problem Sword and Shield had, where you would enter into a battle in a certain area, and then the battle itself would be set in a completely different location. Like, oh, we're gonna fight Hop, we're on a bridge, now we're in a grassy field. Oh, we're gonna fight this guy in a cafe, now we're in a blank white void. So, but yeah, that's actually something that BDSP does really well. It gives a lot of nice battle backgrounds, including like a ton of different backgrounds for even the unique gyms and stuff like that, which is actually really appreciated. I know some people aren't really a fan of the Chibi art style, and I think that is fair, but I actually think this art style is way better than what Sword and Shield tried to pull off, because it's clear they did not have enough time or effort to make any aspect of Sword and Shield look good. It looks like an incredibly half-assed and lazy and unfinished game, and I am willing to bet the art style was a big part of that. But sticking to the more simplistic chibi style, they were able to flesh things out a fair bit more. The general areas look a fair bit nicer. Obviously, the game still has reminiscence of being a DS game, so it's not like this high end, like, oh my god, look at this grass, it looks so amazing. Like, no, there's nothing like that. But there's also nothing like in Sword and Shield, where you can see a fucking tree straight out of Ocarina of Time. And yes, I'm going to bring that tree up again, because that looks genuinely awful and should not be in a 2019 Nintendo Switch game. If you have a problem with that, get over it. Sword and Shield does not look good, fight me. The writing of Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, while it is definitely not as good and fleshed out as Platinum's, didn't make me want to beat my head against a wall like Sword and Shield, whereas Sword and Shield's writing is legitimate dog shit. The majority of those characters are not well written. They have terrible personality contradictions. A lot of their arcs do not make sense. They are either annoying or useless or just flat out not well written. And it is a point that I don't think enough people bring up with Sword and Shield, that game's writing is absolutely terrible. Whereas Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, while like I said, not as good as Platinum, and it admittedly does have some number of shortcomings here and there with some of the older writing, it didn't actively make me groan like I did with Sword and Shield's writing, where a number of moments with Sword and Shield's writing genuinely made me think, how did people think this was okay to write? Especially considering that game is like 13 years older than Diamond and Pearl, which, yikes. And, one last thing that Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl does a million times better than Sword and Shield, Oh my god, the post game of BDSP absolutely shits on Sword and Shield. Like, it is genuinely laughable. There are literally dozens of legendaries to get in this game. Well, maybe not dozens. I think at least over a dozen, because it's actually something I probably should have mentioned earlier. There is actually a brand new area in Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl where you can actually collect these mysterious gems from doing the underground digging minigame, and you can then turn those in I forget what the name of the park is. It's like Ramanza or Amasa or something like that, and you can actually turn those in to be able to fight a bunch of the older legendaries, which is actually really freaking cool. It's basically nearly all of them when you include like some of the gift Pokemon that you can get currently. Like, you can get Mew, Jirachi, and like Manaphy from like save data. And I think I got Manaphy from a mystery gift, which I don't know if that's like a limited time thing right now. If like if you have the game in the first 2 months and connect a mystery gift, you get Manaphy. And that's also actually how I got the platinum outfit, because you can actually get the characters' platinum outfits from the mystery gift, because I want to live in denial just a little bit. But yeah, going back to the park, you can catch a bunch of the old legendaries. Like, you can get the Regis, which is really freaking nice, because that means you can get Regigigas way easier in this game, because you can already immediately get readily Regigigas, Registeel, and Regice. You can get Kyogre, Groudon, Rayquaza. You can get Mewtwo. And there are even alternate choices for what you get depending on which version you picked. Like, in Brilliant Diamond, the version I have, you will get Raikou, Entei, and Suicune along with Ho-Oh. And in Shining Pearl, you will get Articuno, Zapdos, Moltres, and Lugia. So that was actually a pretty cool addition, and just something else to further expand to the post game. Although I guess another side tangent. Boy, I'm getting off track. There are only Pokemon up through Gen 4 in these games. There aren't any Pokemon from the later games added, which is admittedly kind of a shame, because I think this may be the first remake that actually does that. It doesn't add Pokemon that came from later generations after the generation the remake is based off of. So that admittedly does kind of suck a fair bit, but I won't lose too much sleep over it. I honestly love the Sinnoh deck so much anyway, so it doesn't hurt me all that much, but it is admittedly a bit of a shame. So you won't be able in the Legendary Park, you won't be able to get like Reshiram, Zekrom, Kyurem, Yveltal, Xerneas, or Zygarde, or anything like that. But yeah, that's just another thing to add to the post game, along with, going after the Lake Trio, going after Giratina, Rotom, Heatran, Cresselia. Along with Heatran, there's the whole side plot with Buck in Stark Mountain. They are eventually going to add in the Darkrai Shaman and hopefully Arceus events, which will just add even more to the post game. Which, yeah, goddamn, it really makes Sword and Shield's post-game look like a big steaming pile of shit, because these games from 2006 have a much more extensive and entertaining post-game than these games from 2019. You want post-game for Sword and Shield? Go ahead and buy our $30 DLC. The second half of this has just turned into me ranting about Sword and Shield again, but I genuinely do think BDSP are the better games compared to Sword and Shield. I think they're better. They're more fun. I was more engaged. I was actually laughing and getting into the battles a fair bit. And also, BDSP proved to me one major thing that I have stood by for a long time now. The sentiment that the newer Pokemon games aren't easier, you are just better and older now, that is complete bullshit. Because BDSP actually gave me a challenge on a number of occasions. Maylene's Lucario actually gave me a fair bit of shit. I had a few trainers actually knock out a number of my Pokemon, unlike Sword and Shield. And the Elite Four and Cynthia gave me probably the biggest challenge I have had in a Pokemon game in honestly 10 plus years, maybe legitimately since the last time I fought Cynthia, or maybe like Iris from Black and White 2, because holy shit, those fights were actually pretty tough. In fact, if you saw on my Twitter, I literally beat Cynthia in the most literal, closest way possible. One Pokemon left, 1 HP. Sweet merciful Jesus. So, ultimately, what is my stance on Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl? Did I have fun with these games, and did I enjoy myself? Yes. Is this the most fun I have had with a Pokemon game since, at bare minimum, Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, and arguably since Black and White 2? Yes. Is this the definitive way to play Gen 4? No. Unfortunately, I cannot say that, and at the end of the day, I do still think that Platinum is the superior Gen 4 experience, but it goes to note that Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl does enough of its own good to make it a still worthwhile way to experience Generation 4. Like, I still think Platinum is overall better, but if your only way to experience Gen 4 is BDSP, don't scoff at it, because these are still ultimately what I feel to be at least fulfilling enough experiences that show you, at least in a decent number of ways, why people like Sinnoh so much. And also, with these games, one thing I will be able to easily say without a shadow of a doubt, these are without a doubt better than the original Diamond and Pearl. Now, with these out, there is absolutely no reason ever to go back to the original Diamond and Pearl, because these are just completely superior, faithful remakes of them, and Platinum also fleshes those original ideas out. So OG Diamond and Pearl, there is basically no reason to ever touch those again unless you are feeling nostalgic, because BDSP and Platinum just ultimately do everything better than them. So I will give BDSP that. The faithful games that they are staying close to remaking, it is a definite improvement, and I will genuinely say that. And I, honest to God, do think, looking across the board so far, that these are probably the best Pokemon games on Switch. I easily think they're better than Sword and Shield. I think they're more fulfilling than the Let's Go games because of the Let's Go games' weird alteration of the main formula and being incredibly fucking easy. I think there is more to do in Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl than the other games. I feel they are more enjoyable experiences that can actually give you an okay challenge on a number of occasions, which is something I have not been able to say for Pokemon since like 2012, which Christ. But you can tell that these are not meant to be the next big Pokemon games in the franchise. That is what Legends is for, because Pokemon Legends is coming out like 2 months from now. And it's clear that these were pretty much just holdover or appetizer games for Legends, which I am legitimately excited for. I, honest to God, think Legends has a lot of potential to be one of the best Pokemon games ever. I think there's a lot going for that game. And I think once that game comes out, I'm gonna say that's the best Pokemon game to experience on Switch over Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. But again, I should say that I enjoyed myself with BDSP a fair bit, way more than I honest to God thought I was going to in the lead up to this game. The lead up to this game, I thought this was gonna suck. I thought I wasn't gonna enjoy it at all, but I did end up having a decent amount of fun with it. So overall, could I recommend it? I honest to God, I don't know if I can answer that, because I also acknowledge part of the reason why I ended up enjoying these games so much is because I am a massive nostalgia whore for Sinnoh. I love Sinnoh. I grew up with Gen 4. It's the generation I hold closest to my heart. So, due to self-admittedly incredibly strong personal bias towards what these games were based off of, I don't know if I can completely fairly say that other people are going to like these remakes just as much, because I already liked what, at least in a way, liked what Diamond and Pearl had to offer from my experiences with Platinum. So my judgment was already sort of clouded there. But I guess pushing aside what my biases are, I think these games are solid enough in what they do. Like, if someone said to me, I need to play a Pokemon game on Switch, or I'm gonna fucking die for one reason or another. You gotta play a Pokemon game on Switch, excluding Legends from the argument because it's not out yet, and I almost 100% certain think it's gonna take the place of best Pokemon game on Switch. I would say Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. I think these are the best Pokemon games on the system. They are arguably the best Pokemon games in, at bare minimum, 8 years, at most nearly 10. For me at least, actually, or was it 8? Or no, it was god damn, I'm getting my math all mixed up. At bare minimum, they are the best Pokemon games in the past 6 years. I think, I'm pretty sure. Omega, were they? No, were they 7? Oh god, I can't remember this. To me, they are the best Pokemon games since Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, at bare minimum. Maybe the best since Black and White 2. However, I honestly don't know how much entire credit I can also give to Pokemon as a franchise, because it's kind of just rehashing what it already had got kind of good to begin with here, without adding a ton new, but also kind of adding stuff that's also somewhat new and entertaining. Like, I just realized I didn't even mention how you do end up having the distortion world in this game somewhat, with like this special battle against like this level 100 dark evil Giratina, which that's actually pretty fucking cool. But then again, they add that when they're also trying to stay faithful. Can you see what I meant at the beginning of this review when I said I am very, very conflicted on these games? They do a lot. It feels like these games, like what this game does right, it feels a lot more impactful and is overall more than what this game gets wrong. But what it got wrong, it feels like it shouldn't have gotten wrong in the first place. So it's ultimately hard for me to say. If you're a die-hard Pokemon fan, if you love the franchise to death, I would say pick these up. If you're on the fence, I think you will have a chance at liking this, but maybe wait for a sale on these games. Like, maybe wait till they're like 40 or 30 if you're really on the fence about it. And I do think you will overall like it, but then again, I do understand why some people object to the idea of Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl in the first place, simply because they feel it's not what Gen 4 should have gotten after so many years of having a remake demanded for it. But ultimately, to close, I like the game. I honestly like it a lot more than I thought I would. I'm gonna keep playing a little bit more of it to try and do more of the post game. Don't know if right now I'll go after every single one of the Pokemon, like I don't know if I'll go after every single one of the legendaries in the special park. I may at least get the Reggies just to get Regigigas. I may end up rematching the gym leaders because that's in here and that's really cool. But yeah, like I said, I enjoyed it a hell of a lot more than Sword and Shield. If you want to play a Pokemon game on Switch right now, these would be the ones that I would recommend you to play. But if you're hesitant, I also completely understand why, and I don't know if I can fully endorse these games, but I think they did enough right to at least be fun experiences for what they offer. And yeah, that about wraps it up, guys. I really hope you all enjoyed this review. If you're still around after nearly 50 minutes of talking, thank you so much. It really means a lot that you watched the video, and I thank you so much for your support. If you enjoyed the video, I'd really appreciate if you gave it a like and even subscribed or follow me on Twitter. I'm way more active on Twitter than YouTube. I'll try to do more videos when I can. Simply, school being really busy, like I said earlier. I'll see what I can do. Probably will be more simpler videos like this. And, I will say, though, at the very least, don't be shocked if my next video does end up being a review of Pokemon Legends, because I am legitimately super excited for that game, and I may even get some friends along if they end up playing the game and want to join me for, like, a group podcast review. But yeah, with all that being said, I'll say it one last time. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you all have a fantastic day, fantastic night, and take care, and I will see you all in the next video.